Welcome, all you misfits and metalheads, to the cutting room floor, where each and every week, twice a week, every Wednesday and Sunday, we'll be reviewing a horror movie or show and an anime. Bonus, you didn't see that one coming, right?
I like it. I like it.
We are from the band Cut Like This. I am Thorn Black.
I am Rose Blood.
And today, we are bringing you The Color Out of Space. Tell me a little bit about The Color Out of Space.
It was developed from a short story by HP Lovecraft called The Color Out of Space. The first time that it was adapted to film was in 1980s, I'm going to guess, in the movie The Cursed, which was awesome and gave me lots of nightmares when I was a kid. I'm sure if I watched it now, it probably wouldn't be up to snuff. However, I'm going to be, for all you horror heads out there that are familiar with that film, I'll be here to fill you in on the similarities and the differences between Color Out of Space and Cursed.
So I didn't actually see the original. I just saw the remake. But even you're not missing anything as somebody who hadn't seen the original. I think they did a really good job on everything. We got Nick Cage starring in this movie, and yes, the Cage Rage returns.
Oh yeah,
because I gotta have some Cage Rage. Like I gotta have some Cage
That's
Rage.
That's his niche now, and he really just goes all in on it. It's great.
So the premise is a meteor falls from the sky, inhabited by alien beings, of course, because why not, right?
Cosmic horror is H.P. Lovecraft's thing.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it. So they get into the ground and the water in the well, and they just infect everything, and then these people are they're becoming under the influence of this alien being. And
not just the people, also any animals, also even the environment, much more so than in The Curse. You'll see that this thing really just, because they have the effects up to date now, where they could really show it. They go all in, even everything in the environment, the trees, the plants, the
plant
foliage,
life,
even
like
the little
growing.
Animals start to transform and stuff in the woods and everything. So you're really going to get a nice eyeful. The camera does not shy away from anything in this movie. And it's pretty grisly.
Yeah, one thing I liked about this movie, you know how in horror movies there's a lot of dumb decisions that are being made, and you're just like, why are you doing
Super
that,
dumb.
right? So I like how in this movie, it's because of the alien, because they're infected by this being. It's like it's affecting their judgment and their decision making. So it's not just people making dumb decisions for no reason, which is
making them
one
because
of my pet peeves. I'm like, oh my goodness, they explain this whole thing and why these people are making these irrational decisions. Yes, I'm so much on board. I'm so much more on board with something like that. It's just easier to get behind. They have some really good practical effects in there also. Some really gross scenes in there. And
I will tell you, there's some people that really just say no CGI, no CGI. Sorry to tell you this, but most movies nowadays, even the ones that you think are only practical effects, absolutely have CGI. And this is one of those movies where CGI actually really is a great idea, and it really helps and it assists with the atmosphere of the film and the bending of time and space and light and the crazy mania of this poor American family that is just descending into madness.
Yeah.
Total,
I think it's a
out
really
of control
good blend.
Madness.
It's a good mix. It's a good blend. There's scenes where it's just like more practical effects and just like nasty, gross horror. And then there's other scenes where so there's like this just shade, this color that you can't really see on the human spectrum, and they kind of
from outer space,
right? So they kind of display it like the color like a violet kind of, magenta kind of something like that, right? There's a scene where you see like why they're going crazy and what they're looking at and why they can't go away, and that's when like some of the CGI takes over, and it's like it's beautifully horrific. It's like wow, and it's a lot more than I expected them to do. Actually, I thought that the payoff might not be that satisfying when it gets to that part.
Oh, it was.
But I was pleasantly surprised by like how much and how detailed and how far this vision goes like later on in the movie. mixed in with some of the like these nasty body horror kind of like, I don't want to give too much away about like what happens, but when you see it, I mean, there's this one scene,
like
there's one scene in particular that I'm thinking of that it involves his family that is just so disturbing. I'm like, I can't look away, but I can't stand looking at this.
It's my favorite kind of movie.
What a good job. I have not heard of this movie like on any of the social sites. Have you heard about this remake? I haven't really heard about it.
I definitely troll a lot of horror boards, more so.
I think they did a pretty good job on this movie. I was pretty happy with it, and if you haven't seen it, I think you should do yourself a favor.
Yes.
Go and check it out, especially this spooky season.
Our rating system is chainsaws, because our logo is chainsaws and a beautiful severed head. So, how many chainsaws out of 5 would you rate Color Out of Space? Keeping in mind our rating factors, which are believability, how well shot it is, and you know, just general storyline and badass horror gory effects. So keeping all of those things in mind, how many chainsaws?
I gotta give this one a solid 4 chainsaws out of 5. I think it's pretty good. They did a really good job with like just all the effects, with telling the story, with the time bending, with like the bending of everything else. So you'll see some of that.
Yeah.
We got like
there's also a cameo.
Is it
by
Cheech
Tommy
or is it
Chong?
It's Chong. Okay.
Of Cheech and Chong.
So Chong is in it, and the role he's playing makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense for him
like,
too.
He doesn't stand out in a bad way. It fits
he's
in.
like
it's
a
like
drugged out hippie. So
but
he's totally in his element.
And it really just makes sense the way they wrote him in and everything. I'm like, good job. Yeah. You know, like all around.
For sure. So why did you give it 4 chainsaws instead of 5?
It's a 5 chainsaw movie for me is like, I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna watch it again probably next week, and like absolutely everybody I know has to watch it like right away.
All right.
You know,
I see what you mean.
This movie is not bad at all. You know. But it's not like I don't have to see it again tomorrow. Like, it is something that you could watch again, because there's a lot of little details that would probably make more sense having seen the entire thing, going back, picking up on some things. I'm sure I would pick up on a lot more things.
Well, for me, I think that if you're a super horror head and you really like to like get into the details of movies, this is definitely one that you can watch more than once, because there's so much going on, and you actually, like, upon reflection, you realize certain scenes, you know, there's characters that are talking to some characters as if they're there, and you're like, why are they talking to these characters as if they're there? But, you know, and you think it's just that they're going crazy, but it's actually that they have phased out of a different point in time. So they actually are talking to those characters. It's just that they're talking to them in the future or in the past. And, you know, to them, that's their reality. And meanwhile, everybody else's reality is super warped and weird. I also really liked that they kept the darkness of the story and the really messed up ending. So people that are familiar with Cursed, or familiar with the short story, or familiar with Lovecraft in general, you know that he's not really one for happy endings. So
you don't say.
You know, so it's definitely worth watching. If you like to get all those little details, then you would definitely watch it more than once. But I will give it a 4 out of 5 just because the cage rage is real in this. And for some people, that might take them out of it a little bit. For me, it's not a problem.
It just kind of,
I'm a fan.
I think it fits in with what's happening,
and,
you know?
And if there's any point where a weirdo, whacked out cage rage is gonna make sense, it's in this movie, because it's about going crazy. Yeah. It's about an alien that's driving you freaking nuts, you know?
Crazy, and it just fit right in. It didn't seem out of place or anything, you know. And his character just changes from the beginning to the even how he speaks, like the dialect he's using, like his accent rather. It just changes because he's just losing it. It's pretty good. Yeah, I dug it.
Interesting change from the first one. There were some kind of hints of like an abusive dad situation, and in this version, in Color Out of Space versus Cursed, they switched that around. He's he's whacked out for sure. You know, he's gonzo, and he's not necessarily a safe person to be around. But and he definitely, but it's not like a weird like I'm pulling out my belt and I'm gonna get you. You know, like it's like there's like a scene that's kind of like that.
I like that voice.
You know.
You're practicing that? I'm like, where did that come from? That's great.
All right. So anyways, so that's a little bit different, but in a good way. And yeah, I just think on almost every level, it's a definite improvement from Cursed. I don't even think it's necessarily a remake of Cursed because they're both based off the same short story. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much just yet another adaptation of the original short story. And I think it's super well done, and I think you guys will enjoy it. I also, like I said, gave it a 4 chainsaws, vroom, 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 out of 5. So, next up.
Moving on will be our first ever anime that we're going to recommend for you guys. I hope you're ready. This one, give them the title, please. Say
all
it
right.
better than I do.
This next anime is, well, this first anime is Dororo. And this anime takes place during the Warring States period of feudal Japan.
Nothing good happens back then.
Sure isn't. You know, for those of you who are history buffs, you will know that the Warring States period is basically a period of just like endless civil war, and it's just a brutal time period in general. And they do not shy away at all from that brutality in this story.
They sure don't.
Yes.
Like, really.
It's really rough. So for those of you who are into some really crazy, intense anime, who love really amazing fight scenes.
Yeah, the fight scenes are great.
Really animated really well. Also, his fighting style is quite unique because this character is basically an amputee.
Yeah, like complete amputee.
He's got he's got like prosthetic limbs and stuff.
I won't get too much into why he's like that, but he is like that.
Yes.
And can I tell you, when this guy goes after you, like, it's a good thing he's only mainly fighting demons, because you know, people are trash back that day. I mean, you know, people can be kind of trash nowadays, but especially back then, you know, it's
let it be noted, Dororo is the child companion. You know, he's an orphan child that the main character Hyakumaru encounters during his travels. So actually, it's, you know, even though that's the title, it's actually not the main character's name. The main character is Hyakumaru, and the aforementioned handy capable,
very capable,
slicing and dicing amputee. And yeah, like if you've seen the movie Kingsman with the chick on the crazy,
yeah, with the villain, and she had like the leg that was
imagine that, but like.
Yeah, so
more limbs amputated.
This guy's like arms. He'll like bite his arm off because, you know, it's not
prosthetic,
real, and there's a sword underneath it, and he's running around with like these 2 swords for arms, but the same for his legs. If he actually has to take one off, he's fighting all these demons all over the place. I mean, he was born cursed, so he doesn't have much option. You know, you'll see. He's like, there's not much option for him. So he's going around fighting all these demons and slowly becoming human again, and it's crazy because, like, along the way, I think people are actually worse than these demons in here.
As it's horrifying.
Like, you know where you stand with these demons. You know,
as the
it's
demons
like
are.
They're a big monster. They're going to kill and eat you. You don't have to question it. But the people with all the backstabbing and the bullet, it's like, wow, the people might be as bad or worse than some of these demons in here. It's crazy, but it's worth it.
To quote Slipknot,
it's crazy.
People equals shit.
Fight scenes are awesome, and it's one of those animes also that I kind of didn't hear all that much about this one.
And that's why we wanted it to be the first one in our first episode.
Especially,
this is definitely one that somehow flew under the radar. I don't know how, because the animation is awesome, the creatures are awesome, the characters are awesome, and the character development is awesome.
Yeah, right, I was about to say that. Yeah.
The character development is really, really strong. You know, and as you see, you know, his journey to become a real person, a full person, you know, and to claim his humanity, he's also kind of doing pretty inhumane things to some of these bad guys. And not all these bad guys are demons, like we said. Some of them are human beings. So,
but you know what I kind of like about that is
it goes deep.
So this character kind of the way he sees things, because he doesn't actually see normally yet. You know, he probably will. I haven't finished it. We're almost there. But he like kind of sees the essence or the spirit of like what you are, and
whether you're a good person or
and
a bad person.
It doesn't
and it kind of shows up
matter.
as like a red swirl.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're human to demon, because he sees your energy.
Yeah.
And when people are coming through and, you know, they're being, you know, horrible, all he sees is that bad energy, and you're not going to have a good day.
Sure
to say it lightly.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's really good. What would you give this anime out of 5?
Out of 5 chainsaws, I would give Dororo 5.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
You know what? I'm going to have to second that. I'm going to
notch.
have to agree with that. This is a really good under the radar. Like, the animation is top notch. The fighting scenes are crazy. The story is something that I haven't seen before. Yeah.
You're going to like it, guys. Check it out.
In case you're wondering, we ended up checking it out on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure where else it is showing, but if
I think it's also showing on Funimation. But after this episode is wrapped and we're finished, we will definitely put it in the details where you can stream this. And you should absolutely go see it now. If you're a fan of anime and you like supernatural horror in your anime, you like a lot of action,
come on, guys,
and you want that spooky vibe, you can't go wrong. It's fantastic. I think you're going to really like it. And if you do, please make sure to come back here to our little post and show us some love. Let us know what you think about these things. Yeah, leave us a comment
if you have seen... Oh, I'm sorry. Leave us a comment. I got too excited and I shook everything up. I shook the world. If you have seen either one of these, or you do go and watch them and, you know, you like them or you don't, you know, we're curious what you think.
Yeah, and if you have any suggestions for animes that you'd like us to cover, or movies that you'd like us to watch, or if you're a filmmaker yourself and you want to send us some hot, fresh swag, we are totally bribable. Do it.
We are cut like this again. We have music out on Spotify and music here on YouTube. Go check us out. We'll be back.
Hope you like it. We are dedicated to being spooky as hell, and we are super excited to share all of the horror movies, animes. Sometimes we're gonna hit up some video games too, guys.
I'm a big gamer.
You know, that's just what's gonna go down, and whatever else we decide to toss in. So I hope you stick with us in our journey. Make sure to subscribe, leave us a comment, tell us what you think about our first episode.
Until then, see you next time.